going to start, and we're going to spend a decent amount of time on this. I just want you to hold your stick just like this, just right here. Okay. When we look at the compression of our angles, right? We've got this forward diagonal, backhand diagonal, forward horizontal, backhand horizontal, and a thrust. Okay. All of that point that hits is infinitesimally small. We want to be able to shrink that down as much as we can. So I'm not looking to hit a large target, I'm looking to hit a small target. Okay. If I hit her, I don't hit somewhere in here, I hit exactly right there, right? I pick a point, I hit exactly that point. So she holds this, and this is not a game of let's see if we can make each other miss. This is a game of seeing how well we can be accurate. I want to hit this, hit this, hit this, hit this, missed one, okay? And I just want to hit. Okay? You can see I'm missing on some of these, nice and close, right in there, right? You can call that an acceptable place to miss, but that's not what we're working on. We're going to spend time working to be accurate. And I need to work on my fours specifically. There it is. If I just don't look at it, right?
Right.
There it is. Okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, eventually you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to not look at the thing and be able to just hit. I hit this, I hit this, I hit this, I hit this, I hit this. Right? But so we're just going to work on that. So we're going to work through 10 sets, cincoteros. And then we'll switch. Hold the stick for the other person, 10 sets, cincoteros. We're just going to loop that. It's 10 for 10 for 10 for 10 until I tell you to stop.
Sir.
All right? Let's work on precision. So for the next drill, we're going to add in movement. Movement creates the randomness of what we're doing, right? When we're still, she holds her stick, when we're still, it's the target is here, and the only movement is when I hit it. It might move, and then I hit it, and then it moves, and then I hit it, then it moves, and I hit it, then it moves. Okay? That, if I go quick, you might miss as it moves around. So becoming accurate to these places is something that takes time. So in this case, her stick is pointing to my center. And if she starts to rotate, I track that rotation. Okay? Try to stay over here though. Let's not get way over here. And we'll kind of, for the purpose of the video, we'll kind of do this in a half circle. But so my goal is to just follow as she moves, and she's just going to count when she's ready.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay? So my goal is as I'm moving, and they're choosing that. I don't get to choose that, I just have to keep up with it. Just like I would if I'm working with a person, I'm constantly finding where she is, right? And then as soon as, in this case, her count represents the moment that there's an opening to hit or a decision to hit, right? So if I'm sparring, it's consensual, there could be a moment where a target becomes available and I hit it. If it's non-consensual, there's the moment that I decide that now's the time to hit you, okay? But I don't get to choose it. It's just as soon as you say, I hit, and I need to hit accurately immediately. So in that moment, that's what I'm shooting for. Let's try that. I didn't tell you what we're doing.
No.
It's okay. So it's getting progressively more difficult so that you can learn to relax and let it happen. Things that I saw as you went along. One, the more you concentrate, a couple things happen. One, first you become rigid. You become very stiff about it because it could be any minute. Right? And it shouldn't be that. You should be relaxed and just always ready to hit. So no matter what happens, there it is. Right? Second is if I commit, and you see this mostly on the 5 initially, but it happens on all of them. If I think too much and I go accurate, I want to hit that. I want to hit that. Right? Or just relax and just hit it. Just hit it. Just hit it. Okay? So just relax and hit. Relax and hit. So we're going to keep the same drill going. Some of you were adding in, and this is a good progression. I'm going to mention it because it's a good progression. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want you to do it right now. But feel it out. you could decide, which is the idea that maybe she goes 1, 2, and I go bah, bah, right? And I hit back to back. So you can kind of change the pacing, okay? Now, we want to be accurate. We want to hit. That's great. We're going to miss. That's fine, okay? We also need to learn to let go of what happened and move on from that and be ready to do the next thing, okay? I mean, I might go to hit. She might just step back, and I just got to be ready to hit her again and hit her again until I get it, right? That's just reality. That's just the way hitting somebody might go. So we're going to work the same drill. Most of you are wearing these shirts, so I'm going to look right at that crab, okay? I'm not looking at the stick. She moves the stick, and I follow the stick, but I use my peripheral to do it, and then she just tells me when.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1,
Oh.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. So now we're working peripheral. I need to be aware of this without looking at it. I guarantee that everybody was doing the first drill like this.
What?
Right? So now it's just, it exists. It exists, right? This is a thing. I should be able to use my peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is incredibly useful. The other thing about peripheral vision is I find it to be faster. Response to peripheral, if I'm looking at a thing, the brain goes, oh, let me process that. Oh, a thing happened. Let me work through that. I'll get you a result. Hang on a moment. It happens very quickly, but not as quickly as peripheral, where the brain doesn't step in and an action just takes place. Okay? Much faster. Second, it allows me to hit targets I don't mean. So if I'm here and I'm working with her and I go, okay? It's really hard to see a target that happens. If you've sparred with anybody, if you work this kind of stuff, you see them go, okay, I want to hit the knee. Okay, I hit the elbow, bah, right? Instead of just being here and just going elbow, elbow, knee, head, right? It's hard to see where things are going because I'm not looking at them, but I'm seeing them. So let's build that skill. So first off, if you missed a lot, I'm proud of you, okay? Because it is harder to not look at the stick and, sorry, it is harder to not look at the stick. It's easier to look at the stick and then try to feel like, I don't actually care if you can hit it. I care if you can start to employ these other skills, right? This ability to hit that and know where it is, no matter, without looking at it. Okay? Okay? That's way more important than being able to go, I don't care if it tinks every time. Because the thing is, if you go like this, right? Imagine that I'm not looking at it. I have to kind of look at it to do this right. You know, if you're going like this, and you're just barely missing, if you're hitting somebody with a thing, it's probably effective. Okay? So I'd rather have you be able to be very functional and just barely miss, but be in the ballpark and getting better every time, than to have to look, but be really accurate. Right? That's like only being able to use my right hand to do this. So we're about to use our left hand to do this. Okay? But the Filipino martial arts does a lot of what we call Doublestick, which is the 2 sticks, right? And the 2 sticks is so that I can transfer what my primary hand does to my left. So I'm not just going to come here and go, okay, I'm hitting this, hitting this, hitting this, this, and this, right? I'm not just going to do that. Instead, I'm going to be here, and she says 1, and I go boom, boom. Okay? 2, boom, boom. 3, boom, boom. 4, boom, boom. 5, boom, boom. Okay? 5, I'm going to go ahead and throw a slash. Okay? Because this is, you can do it. That's not, we're going to make it more simple, and we're just going to go boom, boom. Okay? So you're never going to, well, in a minute we'll change it. I'm not going to say never. But so you're just going to follow it. Whatever it is. You come here, you come here. Okay? If I go 2. Right? 3, boom, boom. Make sense? Okay, so now we'll just do it a second. You can move around, you can tell me, and then I'll just do that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3,
Okay? So let's play with it. Again, the Filipinos call it play because that's what we do, right? It's not so serious. This stuff was taught with games, right? It's taught to young kids by playing games that taught them martial skills. So we play, we relax, we have fun, we laugh with each other, and we become very good rather than being so serious and just getting kind of good. All right, so let's goof off. All right, so we'll quickly go over, this just happened organically while Cheyenne and I were playing. She was holding her sticks here. Okay. So I chose for my challenge to be, as I went, to be able to look to there and hit one and then a different one. To be able to change where my hits were going. Okay, so to minutely adjust. Okay, it's just a fun way to try. Okay, what I learned about it, because this just happened just now, is I can do two things. We'll go this way, we'll go this way. Come back over here, come back over here.
Okay, got it.
He tries to stay off the mat. He doesn't have to, but he does, which means that we got to get closer to him. Okay? All right, so as I go, it means that I could choose to look. I look at this one, and then I look at this one. Okay? And I have to see them separately. Or I can just recognize mathematically, for lack of a better word, the distance that's different between them. And instead of that, I think about one, and I just think about the fact that the other one is just a little bit off of that. And I change that trajectory. Okay? So that's just a thing. It's just a thing we did. It's a fun thing to play. Always play. See what you can do. Challenge yourself. Push yourself. See what you can do. So now for this, we're going to go open stick, what we call the Villabreo method, this open style of fighting. So now if it's a strike from this side, happens with my right hand. If it's a strike from this hand, it happens with my left. So we go ahead and move. Okay. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I messed it up, so I had to fix it.
1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5.
That's good. We're playing, right? We're playing. Okay. Away. I'm just going to show. This is the variation that I want you to do, but for the sake of time, I'll show another variation. Spread your sticks. Okay. It can be like that, or it can just be out like this. Okay. And then I can choose separately. Okay. So I can go, okay, every time, in fact, I have two choices. I could go for the broadside one where it's easier to hit this and that. That's a little bit too easy. So instead, I'm going to come for this side hits this one, this side hits this one. Okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll run it for just a second.
Okay, 1,
Ooh.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.
Okay.
Oh.
So just different ways that you can run the drill. For now, we'll just work on, you can hold two or you can just choose one. I tend to just give them a single target and come like this. Okay. That way, if they look at the stick, I can hit them.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. But a thing that I have been doing, if I see people's eyes flick to the stick, I just move it. If you look at it, I move it. So don't look at it, okay? Because we're trying to see it, not look at it. All right, let's try. So notes that came out while we were talking, things that I do but don't talk about, okay? But I talk about to you guys. So first off, I realized that I haven't said out loud to it, other than my partners, why I'm choosing to look somewhere different than like eyes. Because a lot of people will say, hey, eye line, right? It's the eyes are the secret to the soul. If I see like your intentions, you can hide what you're doing, but you can't hide it in your eyes. Maybe I'm just dumb. I've fought a lot of people. I've never been able to be like, oh, their eyes have told me spinning roundhouse. Got it. It just doesn't work that way. Okay? And maybe it does for people. That's fine. That's fine. If it works for you, that's great. But I also believe you can lie with your eyes. If you know that about a thing, you can lie with it. But the other thing is it's just like taking a bad photo. If I take a bad photo, I can just lock in. Okay, here, take a bad photo. I want you to lock the center of the frame right on my face. Okay? There's all this garbage. There's nothing up here, and you can't see down here. Right? Or he angles down more towards here. You get all of this, you get all of that, right? Same idea. It makes a good photo. You just learn how to take a better photo. Also, don't put people in the center unless you mean to. But for videos like this, it's worthwhile, though. So center's good. That's where the focus is. But the other thing is eye line. If I look here, half of my periphery is nowhere. Unless she grows a new limb I'm not familiar with and attacks me with that, I'm losing a lot down here that I could see. So when I first learned this, I learned this from my karate instructor, and we'd look at the belt. Because when I look at the belt, I'm looking halfway through the man. I'm looking, and I can see peripheral up and peripheral down. Okay? And I don't have to think about what their eyes are doing. I'm just seeing. And then for me, I just deglaze, and I just lock out, and I quit looking at it. Later, that became me fighting like this, where I'm not looking at you at all. I'm just seeing you here. And that becomes the way that I would start to fight, because I just wanted to not look at you, but see all of you. Similarly, sticks. When I'm working sticks, I can do the similar thing. I can put my sticks up here, okay, and I'm defending all of this nothing. Or I can relax. I can get my elbows down, and now I've got my sticks defending from my high line to my midline pretty easily, and I can adjust pretty quickly. The other thing that allows me to, if I'm up here, it's really hard to get low lines without telegraphing those. Here I can hit, okay, but I can also do my horizontals here pretty easily without having to move very much. Okay, so this is a pretty good places where I like to hang out with the sticks. Lastly, we were talking about this following, this tracking. I'm tracking this. This to me represents the center of you. And I don't mean just like, well, halfway. I mean the center, okay? Center up and down, center front to back, center, okay? Anytime I hit something, I'm thinking about the center of it. I'm not thinking about the surface of the stick. I'm thinking about the center core of this stick. I want to hit that, right? That's my target. And then I want to hit through it. But every time, especially for me when I'm carrying this stick, it's got this little red tip to it, that gives you your target. You could wrap it with a human body, you could wrap it with a tire, you could wrap it with whatever you want that thing you're hitting to be, but this is your target, into it, right? And so I also want to keep myself as equidistant as I can. So if she drops this, I have the opposite. I'm just looking at this here. If she just go ahead and do this, okay, you can keep it moving. I'm following this. I was following her, not her following me. So I could do this and I could make her follow me. But that's the wrong part of the drill. That's me, okay? I need to respond to her. My target moves, okay? She's moving, but her stick might move a different direction than she does. And I need to follow that. Don't forget to move your stick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there it is. So I have to orient, okay? It doesn't really matter where she's facing to me. It matters that this thing that I've chosen to be the thing that I'm focusing on is what I'm following, okay? And then I can always hit it. Okay, it doesn't actually matter. Because even when she's the one moving, I have a thing like that to her. The center of her is where I need to focus on my movement. So if I start changing and I start facing away from this, I've made this weapon a lot harder to access. Okay? And similarly, if I'm watching her outside of the drill, this idea, if I'm blading off, you start losing what my hands could be doing. Okay? People face each other. If somebody turns sideways to you, there's a reason for it. It could be a good reason, it could be a bad reason, but there's a reason for it. So if I'm fighting her and I start turning sideways, there's a reason for it. Right? If I'm a person carrying a weapon, I turn sideways, that might be so I can get to a tool or protect a tool. Okay? So just be mindful of the way you blade your body and be mindful of the way they blade their body, because there's a lot of information passing right there. It's not stuff you have to consciously think about and be like, oh, wait, that was 2 more degrees to the left. I don't need to think about all that. I just need to be aware. Okay, why are you changing? Right? And I also need depth. I need to be aware of close and far and time and the ability to change space. Okay, so that's a little bit what we did today.